Okay, so you're asking me my emergency?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for years I've been targeted and terrorized by the government, deprived of housing. They have came in personally to interrupt any assistance, have assaulted me, detained me, slandered me, terrorized me, bullied me, multiple different departments of the government, Homeland Security, DART police, regular police, and I'm tired of being terrorized. They've deprived me of housing. I had these locations, a multitude of locations, if I was ever able to get housing, terrorize me, mistreat me, degrade me, set up people to do it as well, violate my rights over and over again, and get away with it. A lot of these things are criminal. So then they concocted a scheme with my job because I was finally progressing. I went out, made purchases, did things, got a gym membership. So then they schemed with my job to blatantly like at a multitude of other locations. They deprived me at church services at churches. So I go to these locations.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am,
So
ma'am,
what?
ma'am, this is
Yeah,
an emergency. Please
ma'am.
don't cover for
I
it, ma'am.
understand. What's your phone number, ma'am?
Your
What's
employee
ma'am?
ID? Your employee ID?
I'm not giving you my employee ID, ma'am.
Why would you
What's your
not do
name?
that? I thought that was a requirement. Why would you
No,
want to
it's not
hide
a
who you
requirement for me
are?
to give you my employee ID. What's your name, ma'am?
I have this stalker, so you don't want me to. And then I forgot to tell you, they also break into my phone, and a lot of these places I call and have written,
Okay.
I can't
I
get my
understand, ma'am.
calls.
Ma'am, I
I
understand.
can't get my calls, ma'am. And
Ma'am, I
everywhere I
understand.
call, a multitude of these locations
Ma'am,
cover for it.
who is
911
it
has
you're
hung up
saying
in
is
my
doing this?
face.
Ma'am, do you hear my question? Who
911
is
has
it you're
hung up in
saying?
my face and covered for crimes and refused dispatch out in
Ma'am,
emergencies, which is a crime.
ma'am, who is it you're saying is doing this?
This stalker, this man that I met, I don't know exactly
What is
where I
his
met
name?
him.
What is his name? See, white person
So
is Hispanic.
yeah, I do want to report that
Ma'am,
going.
answer
I
my
don't.
question.
It's hard
That's my
because
next
you're covering for the
question.
crimes, ma'am.
Ma'am, nobody's covering for anything.
Okay,
Can you
well,
just answer
I
the
don't
question I
feel
just asked you?
comfortable going to these locations repetitively over and over again, knowing I'm an
Okay,
elephant in the
ma'am.
room and I can't get
Ma'am, if you
services.
you want a police report, do you want police to come out and give you a report?
No, I think we're deflecting.
What
I
am I
have just
deflecting, ma'am?
told
I'm
you, I
asking you
have
about a
called an
suspect
emergency
person.
line, told you I was getting
Okay, I'm
terrorized
not
and I
gonna go
can't
back
get
and forth with
services.
you. Okay, I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. You want police to come out, or you want fire department, or you want medical services?
I
Make
don't
choose
think that I
line,
should
ma'am.
get degraded and violated at every location I'm at, ma'am, including on my phone asking for emergency help. I think
Okay,
it's
ma'am.
sick.
How you,
I don't think that they should entice my
ma'am?
job to fire me in a
Who
scheme
is
and then
they? Who
blacklist
is
me
they?
from service to government and then
Okay,
prepared
ma'am.
and waiting for me to try to beg for my life and
Then
get
you can
help
talk to
from
the
their
government
abuse.
about how they're
They're
treating
ready
you,
to
then, ma'am.
blacklist me and violate me and degrade me, trying to
Ma'am,
escape
are you
their
diagnosed
abuse.
with anything? Are you diagnosed with anything?
You can check out my YouTube channel. It's KEYANA,
I'm
Clark,
not checking out your YouTube
CLARK.
channel, ma'am.
I
I'm
don't think
not.
that you should degrade me
So,
by
can you
trying to
answer my
frame me
question?
with mental illness, ma'am, and for crimes that you can
Okay, I need
see.
to release the line then, ma'am. Because you're holding the line if you don't have an emergency.
That is an
Okay?
emergency for you
It's
guys to
not,
break
ma'am.
into my
Keep
phone and
checking out
commit
your YouTube.
felonies
It's
over
not
and
an
over
emergency.
again and consistently get
Have
away
a
with
good
it
rest of the
and
day, ma'am.
deprive me of any help to beg for my life with all these schemes all over the place and then deprive me of any assistance to escape your abuse. It's felony to prevent someone from ill. And then, they're so corrupt they've done that. I don't understand why the emergency line would deprive me of help in my emergency. I thought that was criminal, as they've done years. Hello? This is how it is for me. This is how it is. So they violated me and made sure my job fired me, prepared and ready for me to fight for my life, as they have done years. Deprive me of any assistance to escape their abuse, down to coming personally enticing these people to deprive me of services. Not only do that, be emotionally and psychologically abusive. It's sadistic in the process of doing it. So I get to pay this phone bill and they interrupt any access at church, any avenue, period, to escape their abuse. Knowing that it's getting cold, they don't care. I was in the tent cold. They were so sick they interrupted the hotel stays. That's why I think it's a threat. This is the intrudes on my safety. And I still am not being heard everywhere I go to consistently violate my rights over and over again. It's abuse and criminal. So I have called 911 for years. They've repetitively covered for crimes, dispatched out corrupt police just for me begging for my life, assaulted, arrested, and it's still going on. I don't think sadistic, corrupt government officials, that their insanity that threatens everyone's safety, I don't think that they should continue to do this year after year and abuse me and violate me by having all these locations deprive me of services. So I have to sit there and they enforce that I get violated. Can you imagine how that is to go to churches that conspire with your abuse and you got to face these people knowing that they're lying and committing crimes to keep you from services, to keep you in danger? And you just got to sit there and go to and face them knowing they're conspirators in your abuse. And you can't stop it because it happens everywhere. Can you imagine getting your car serviced in 2 different times in one day and they damage your vehicle because that's what your abuser wanted? Getting it serviced because you just paid it off. And he feels some kind of way about it. So then that way they damage it while you're getting it serviced and worked on. I want to go get my car cleaned up now, but I don't have rights like a multitude of other people. They damage my car when I get it fixed. Or when I get it detailed. So they were sending me a clear signal. If I want my car nice and detailed like everyone else can get, there will be consequences. So they just were able to slit the seat and get away with it. I mean, for goodness sake, I was assaulted and arrested at a domestic violence support group, and I'm still going through it with a whole YouTube channel. And then some kind of way they want to frame me with mental illness when the government needs help. Breaking into my phone, counterfeiting calls. Obviously, 311 didn't even want to give me an address or didn't even want to give me anything in domestic violence. They would hang up in my face and do all kinds of other things that you wouldn't believe in the past before I started recording. I knew that it was something amiss. It was obvious. If you don't go to call, and then every call they try to start an argument and be psychologically abusive if something is not amiss. So you deny me the right to get a help and get out of abuse like they have for years. There's any kind of avenues to get off the street or get help from the government. You're depriving me of any assistance for that, as it has been done years, forcing me to stay in the tent, desperate for my life. So 911 is acting like children again before they hang up and cover for the crimes multiple times in a row. Would 911 behave like this if it was really 911? So whoever is breaking it has already forewarned 911. We have been terrorizing this lady for a long time, and she will be begging for her life. She has spent hours and hours begging for her life, and we have interrupted it years. So make sure when she calls begging for her life for the crime we just set up, as we set up a multitude of others, we want you to be emotionally abusive, blame her for it, and deprive her of any assistance. So are you refusing me dispatch, ma'am? You refusing me dispatch? So she didn't want me to have her name, which is a red flag. She was committing a crime. Hacking the phone network is criminal, even if the government enlisted corrupt government officials, even if they set it up and had asked the provider to help them with their crime. They had corrupt government officials that happen to have access to scammers or hacking a telephone network.
Clark, I need to release the line, ma'am.
I need to speak with your supervisor. I need to speak with your supervisor because you're committing a crime depriving me of emergency assistance. You're committing a crime, ma'am. I need to speak with your supervisor.
This is Keto. Where's your emergency?
Yes, the government has terrorized me. I have a YouTube channel that a multitude of people don't want to see the evidence. It's Keyaana Clark, Clark, Peace, Peace. And I've not been able to escape their abuse because they just go behind me or go at a multitude of locations, premeditate my arrival, and sabotage any assistance to escape their abuse. They just scheme to terminate, cost me my job. in a scheme, and they have been going a multitude of locations. They even have it's listed enlisted church to conspiracy to violate civil rights crimes to deprive me of any assistance. It's getting cold outside, and I'm concerned because they had me blacklisted before in the past, abused power, and prevented locations from giving me services, which is a crime. So I've called years to try to get assistance, and my phone network is hacked. My provider confirmed it, but some kind of way they would not give me assistance to get my phone back services back on. So I had to go to another provider. So the government is out of control, and I'm tired of them terrorizing me and my family. There's child abuse going on that they set up for interference with child custody crimes out of malice, a multitude of people. So now they want to investigate themselves because it's obvious corruption, but it's still criminal. If even if you're law enforcement, you don't have a choice to not investigate crimes because it incriminates you. I have 70 something reports for Dallas alone, and they're trying to force me to get 3 reports that they choose. That's like clear cut mental illness. How is the government so sick that they're going to tell me what records they'll give me? Force me to get 3 records that they have prearranged and chose. I have been trying to get all my records for years that they openly have deprived me, and then finally she let me know that there's 3 records that I can get. I have to choose from those 3 records, and I have 70 something reports ranging from assault with a deadly weapon, hit and run, ran off roads, threats, attacks, stalking, harassment. But she's choosing 3 records that she will let me get, and in the past I couldn't get any at all. So I don't know what to do, man, when the government just has people conspire with a massive amount of conspiracy to violate civil rights crimes as they did before COVID that were getting ignored. I don't know what to do. I don't think that they should deprive me of my constitutional right everywhere I go to enforce abuse. It's sick. Now you get to see what I've been going through years. It's sick. And they would hang up in my face, disregard, play games. This is a crime that the government has been getting away with. This is criminal. And does it endanger your life when they terrorize someone? And biggest conspiracy to violate civil rights scheme I've ever seen. And then we had COVID when they got caught in it. You know, I said I don't know if it's related, but I did try to get help before COVID. Because I don't think mentally unstable people need to be running the government. I said it before COVID. So I'm still in it. There's still a multitude of people witnessing it, doing nothing. So I was always almost murdered before with a whole bunch of conspirators that even deprived me of food and water. So I guess that's what they're going to do because I begged for my life years to get ignored. With a whole YouTube channel, not very much has changed. I finally get a job, move on with my life, and they're back at it again, terrorizing. I have to go to a church that deprives me of all services, love, and support, conspires with the crime, as well as a multitude of other locations if I wasn't getting drugged out of them and thrown on concrete, and then violated on the way to the bus stop by police. So we can pretty much see that someone's controlling every experience, which is criminal. They have no right to go behind me, terrorize, and enforce people to commit crimes with them to keep me in jeopardy as they've done years. I mean, how am I going to get out of it if I can't call the real parties with my phone and this felony crime is ignored that put other citizens at risk? There's already these scammers has already robbed me out of defrauded me out of funds. I can't get law enforcement anywhere. You've witnessed the FBI, DOJ, Homeland Security, all different avenues of law enforcement cover for crimes. These parties are not returning my calls. I go in person, even if I'm not recording, they're listening and stalking. They're just going to entice them to deprive me of services as they've done years. We're talking of getting deprived of medical treatment when I was sick. So I don't know what they have a scheme. They're not going to let me have civil rights as I haven't been for years, as I haven't had before COVID. Not even at church. So, ma'am, you're not going to allow me to get dispatch out or help to get in my crisis to get housed or any assistance in period?
I have a call sheet ready for you, ma'am. I was letting you talk
Okay.
about all your issues. So I will put a call in for officers to come and speak with you.
Okay, but as for
Beyond
getting
a clock,
housing,
right?
yes, but as for getting housing and getting
We
any
don't do,
direction for
right,
that,
we
I'm
don't
not
do anything
allowed.
with housing.
I'm sorry?
We don't do anything with housing. This is 911. It's not
Well,
housing.
here's the thing. The reason why I'm reaching out to 911 is because I'm deprived of services. The government has blacklisted me from services to the
Ma'am,
degree of ordering food and
every
water.
department have their own, so we don't deal with housing.
No, I'm not
Deal with
being
someone.
heard, ma'am. I'm not being heard. The government has
Okay.
deprived me of service down to the purchase of food and water. So I'm concerned because I cannot get law enforcement, which is extreme. And if I've been deprived of services before COVID, in the biggest conspiracy to violate the civil rights scheme I've ever seen before COVID, and then when people were caught in their crimes, then COVID happened, that makes me a bit concerned. I have already stated that mentally unbalanced people do not need to be running the government, and I have not been heard. To deprive me of records for years, as police headquarters hand me out fraud, then to force me to get 3 records that they chose. I think it's clear cut. There's a sign that something is amiss is going on with a multitude of parties. And forcing me to go to churches that conspire with a possible murder and abuse is sick. No matter how they were waiting at the potter's house and forcing them to commit crimes. I have talked to news people and celebrities, and I guess they're terrorizing them too. It doesn't matter how big. They want everyone to be a conspirator in their crime. And they're doing it. I'm still in it. So I'm not quite sure what the resolutions are because the police have been giving me reports of years, different problem of investigation and covering up for crimes. It's getting cold outside. They've already forced me to be in a tent, barely eating, halfway sick, going through all these schemes that they were forcing me to go through, getting terrorized. They were so sick. I was in a group. Was forced to be outside in this tent, and they would have a fire. So all these parties were in the fire, and the first night I was out there, they had this fire in the cold. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I can deal with it. There's not a lot being done. So people were friendly, and then there was this lady that used to mistreat me and block my path. So she came and talked to a lot of people in the community, which I don't know why the lady in a wheelchair that kept blocking my path setting up, and she could walk. So I don't know why she was in the wheelchair. It was strange, but a lot of things in my life has been strange. So then after that, the people in the tent community got abusive, and they would not let me be around the fire. So they would mistreat me and tell me I wasn't allowed. Then after they terrorized me, and there were witnesses that said that I wasn't the kind of person that needed to be over there in the tent community by the fire. They could sense my integrity and who I was as a person. So they wanted me to be cold and not permit me to be by the fire because I didn't need to be in that community, which I could not escape. So at first they were friendly, then they got rude and would not permit me to be around the fire like a multitude of other people. Then I went to another lady that had her own personal fire. She mistreated me and wouldn't let me be by her fire. So if I have to live on the streets and go through this terror and abuse, and then they entice people to be so sadistic to where they won't even let me have warmth from a fire, what am I supposed to do? Should I just have to wait until the government murders me openly on a whole channel? This is why it's still going on.
Okay. Well, I have a call in for police to come speak with you, ma'am.
There's not a lot being done. Okay, ma'am. Do you mind if I have your name?
It's Kita, Kita.
Do you have an employee ID?
Kita, Kita. You get one or the other.
Oh, I have to choose?
Whichever one I give you. So if you
Oh,
wanted
okay.
a
So you
choice,
don't want to give me both. So there has to be a choice of, because I get degraded in person and on the phone. That's what my abuser likes. He likes for me to have mistreatment and psychological abuse in these experiences.
Ma'am, I have to call in for police. Okay, we've been on the phone for 7 minutes, and you gave me all your information.
You don't think anything that I said was a threat to you, your safety as well as mine, ma'am? Because they haven't for years. I haven't found any compassion in my experiences at all.
I don't feel threatened by the government nor the country. No.
You don't think when you don't think that it's suspicious that I had a major conspiracy to violate civil rights crimes going on, and then no one had rights?
I'm not sure what you have going on.
My YouTube channels KEYANA Clark CLARK Peace PEACE.
Ma'am, the call is in for police. Okay, you can explain to them what all you got going on.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. You have a good one.
You too. So, as they've been doing years, the terror that I had to be in a tent. When I wasn't recording, it was worse. So as a terror going out of my mind in the cold, being terrorized in the community, stealing earrings, black widow spiders in the tent, after the rain putting out clothes to dry, but someone spraying ammonia on it, spraying ammonia in the air all the time, just walking by my tent when I'm in the tent spraying ammonia, I'm inhaling it, my lungs burning, there's nothing I can do. Waiting till then, not only that, waiting till I come back to put out the fire, so I can inhale that and be sick too. Just 3, 4, 5 times a day, just come by my tent and spray ammonia. Isn't that a crime? I'm in him forcing me to inhale ammonia. Out of malice, just walk by the tent, spray it in the middle of the night, and I smelled it and it had to inhale it. I'm in the tent locked up and closed up. I don't see what's going on behind me, but I do know that I'm inhaling ammonia and I can't get law enforcement. This is what I have to go through living in the tent. I have to go through some the Black Widow's mysterious Black Widow spider. If multiple different people had chairs and different things they sat in, I got one. They stole it. Then when they stole it, they brought it back all beat up, muddy, cut up. Then I got a bag. Someone stole that. Then after they gave it, it was Wolf, the one that pulled the gun on me. He stole the bag. Then tried to give it back, and then when he gave it back, it was filled with grass. Out of malice, just filled blatantly. So if I would have put my clothes in it, then I would have had to, get all the grass out. This is the one that pulled the gun on me. That's why the police wouldn't do the report, because he set up all this chaos in the community. They knew that he was a gang stalker, so they didn't want to take the report. When he pulled the gun on me, they cover for it. Put it up to my head, push me down, put it up to my head, pull the trigger. Of course, no bullets, and they cover for it. These people told me about, because I had my phone, and I had to expose the government's crimes and all this chaos that I went through, but I lived in a tent. I didn't have access to charge it. And they would scheme on the bus and trains, the buses and trains, so I couldn't charge it there. So then they had, and I recorded it, they had this dog park that had charging and electricity. Okay? They had told me a multitude of times about this dog park. I finally go up there myself. Guess who comes to the park and has everyone leave the park? The police department. This was during COVID. There's a multitude of people that have already charged their phone and got assistance at this park during COVID that had already told me. Because I have went to DART stations and police interrupted me charging my phone at DART stations because they didn't want me charging it to record their abuse. So the DART police pretends like he don't know that these the charging stations is for people to charge their phone, and tried to force me to leave. So back to the dog park. The police came there and forced everyone to leave the park just so I couldn't charge my phone. Another incident when I didn't even realize I was getting stalked, I was isolated. They want to isolate me in these schemes. So I was traveling with another party, and then there was this avenue where they did the street racing. We were traveling doing something else completely unrelated. but I was deprived of any kind of like group activity. So I said, let's go here. Let's go here to in this party. Already conspirator says no. Let's wait. Let's wait. So the person deliberately, my people in my environment are conspirators with this abuse, even friendships. So the party went around another area and wanted to wait, which was very odd. So we go back. Now the police has terrorized the whole group of people and had all the group leave. Another park the police came to and then forced me as well. I recorded it because it kept happening. So the police came to another avenue. Everyone's there enjoying themselves. I get there. Now, once again, everyone has to leave. I recorded these situations, a lot of these situations, the dog park situation. They already prearranged and knew me and told me to go to Salvation Army, to go to the convention center. Just like at the police department, they told me to go to South Central Patrol, which is committing the crimes. Why do all these parties know who I am? Random people at a dog park that forced everyone to leave when I got there. They had been there. People had charged their phone and told me to go there. I finally went. Then they forced me to leave. Since so I could, just to prevent me from charging my phone. And told me I had where I could go was a convention center where the marshals arrested me for reporting my Vital battery pack stolen. Obviously, it's the government. Tried to fight their abuse for years, and I haven't really gotten help. I mean, they allowed me to have a job in the apartment, and then when I got in a position that was outside of their comfort zone, they interrupt that. I've been trying to fight their abuse for years, so what's the use of running around place to place to place for them just to entice them to violate my civil rights over and over again like they did before COVID? This is a video diary.